Alright, choosing good bananas. Ripeness is one of the things that's really subjective. Some people like them ripe, some people like them kind of green. But color is one thing that's very important that a lot of people don't think about. A brighter colored banana is usually going to be sweeter than a pale colored banana. Alright. The next issue about bananas is the bruising. They bruise very easily. Either impact or just pressure. Just setting on the racks in the grocery stores can cause them to bruise. So it seems like everybody's out to bruise your bananas. The folks that are chopping them down out of the banana trees are bruising them. The people putting them in the boxes, the hoochie mama down at the produce department, the cashier's bruising them, the bag boy's bruising them. So a lot of that stuff you don't have any control over, but there are a few things that you can do to eliminate some of it. One thing is when you get your bananas in the store, don't take a big cluster of them and set them in the cart on the wire rack, because what you're doing is you're putting pressure on a bunch of little points across the back of the banana, and you'll end up with a lot of bruising there, and those bruises will turn to mush a lot quicker than the rest of the banana will. So be careful how you place them in the bottom of the rack or in the bottom of the cart. You can even break them apart some so that you don't have as much weight on each point, and maybe even lay them on their sides. If you have something like the reusable grocery bags, you can spread those out and set the bananas on them, and that way it kind of helps soften the blow, any of the bumps you go over in the store and that sort of thing. Also, you can bag your own groceries. That way you don't have the cashier or the bag boy beating them up so bad. If you can't do that in your store, as soon as you can, get them out of the bag and put them somewhere better, so they're not up against a hard can of dog food or soup or something. Get them out of the bag and put them in a good location before you go through the parking lot, because the parking lot's probably going to be beating the bananas up against all that stuff that's in the bag. So get them somewhere that's good. When you put them in the car, put them up against something that's softer instead of up against something that's hard. Now when you get them home, a lot of people like the the $10 or $20 banana hooks. Well, those work really good for green bananas, but once they start to get ripe, it doesn't work very well, because you go to get a banana off of that cluster and you're going to bruise the bananas up when you're holding them trying to separate them, and you might also break the stems, and a lot of times they'll even break just hanging there. These are almost broken already due to the hoochie mama in the department store, in the produce store probably. But anyway, so I don't really like the hooks too much. But one of the main things that people do that messes them up though is when they come home, they set them on the counter, that big cluster on their back. So you got all the weight of 2 or 3 bananas each sitting on this little bitty point that's only about 2 inches long. So you end up with a nasty looking bruise right here a lot of times. So that's just putting all that weight in one little place. So as soon as you get them home, separate them. Go ahead and break them off into individual bananas. That way, when they're not as ripe, they don't tear up so easy. So you get it done ahead of time. Alright, then lay them on their sides like this. If you don't have a whole lot of counter space and you got a bunch of bananas, you can even put them here like this. Now these I'm going to have to be careful with not to tear the stems up, because they're already pretty ripe. But you can set them like this. That way you got a nice soft surface that they're sitting on so they don't bruise. And then you can even put them on top of each other. You got a couple of different points here of contact in between these bananas. It's about 8 inches long or so, and then the ones on the bottom that are taking the most weight are on this nice soft towel. So you could stack up a pretty good stack of bananas there and not have to worry about them bruising each other. If they're separated like this, somebody comes in to grab a banana, they grab a banana and they go. They're not ripping things apart and tearing up all your stems and everything and causing them all to be rotten at the ends and mushy in places. The one last point, a lot of people argue about this, but I personally like to put a few bananas in the refrigerator as long as it's not too cold. They will turn brown really quick on the outside, but that's not really the same thing as bruising. They just look brown. They're perfectly fine on the inside. I also personally think that it makes them sweeter, and it seems to slow down the ripening process. You're just going to have to try that one for yourself and make your own decisions.